Hi, welcome. I'm Frankie, your local Stockholm entrepreneur, and I'm gonna be showing you in this video, hopefully, how to do your taxes.
We're in trances, going off to different places, different planets, empty-handed.
I've been procrastinating all through the month of March, which is when your income statement and tax statement is out for declaration. But because I've been procrastinating, because yeah, this is not my favorite thing to do. I don't hate it, but I procrastinate on it. So let's just do it together. All right, I thought it would be nice to just show you step by step. You guys seem to like that kind of tutorial. So I'm gonna just show you step by step how to do your taxes as a freelancer in Sweden, and also to kind of navigate the Skatteverket website to be able to do that, to file your taxes. So let's do it, yay! Finally doing it. Rip off that band-aid. Let's just do it. All right, so first things first, what do? You Google Skatteverket, and this is the tax agency in Sweden. Hopefully you already got your tax declaration or income statement, probably through Kivra. Kivra is this digital receipt/mail platform, so you can make your way there and kind of receive all of your paperwork online. If you don't have Kivra, you probably got it through the mailbox, so check your mail, everybody. So you go into Skatteverket, and you click on that. You need to declare, they are saying, the latest by 2nd of May. So I'm really running it on, living on the edge. It's April 22nd, and I still didn't want to do this today. So we're trying to really beat the odds here. But please do declare on time, because otherwise you can get late fees, or you can even get jailed. That's happened to me almost once, so I'll save that story for another time. Sweden is probably like one of the easiest countries to declare your taxes through, because they just don't have as much software or complicated, systems and procedures. As far as bureaucracy and paperwork go, you just do everything digitally in one platform. The most difficult part is kind of understanding, especially if you have several businesses or sources of revenue or income, is understanding how to navigate putting that all there so you benefit the most from the tax system. And often enough, if you're a business owner, you're going to end up paying tax. So not always the fun part, but taxes help our society. So anyway, so let's start by clicking on declaring. I am now in the private section of Skatteverket. So private means your personal income. So this applies if you are employed by a company, a corporation, if you're employed, by government, whatever. If you have personal income and it's taxed at usually 30% or plus, depending on how much you earn, then you would be having private income. You would also have private income to declare if you are a freelancer of some type. Even though it's a freelance business, so you are probably a sole trader, which, I've showed you how to become a sole trader and how to register that way. Your sole trader business number is technically your social security number in Sweden. So technically it is associated and seen as your personal income. It will have other tax implications, but it will also be showing up here. You can go into your income declaration and try to log in. Hopefully you have a bank ID. That's usually the easiest way. If you're an international, maybe you have other ways to log in, but bank ID is usually the easiest way. So I'm going to try to log in right now. Does anyone else get anxiety just by doing taxes? Like, it's just, why do I feel anxious about this? Probably because I've been procrastinating on it for a month. All right, so I'm going to show you my personal and my organization number tax. And once you're logged in, click legitimation. I hope you appreciate my Swedishness. First problem is it's in Swedish, so a lot of us are going to be hella confused if you don't know any Swedish, which is not my case, but I'm going to do this for people who don't know Swedish. You can come over here and just translate to English. That's amazing. Like, you can do that, Income tax return 1 for income year 2024. Yes, that is what I'm trying to do right now. So what do we have here? It says income tax return not submitted via this e-service. Yeah, because I literally just started it. Attachments, this is for extra information you might need to add, okay? I still have not submitted anything, so that's what you should see here. And then this is the fun box. The box that tells you how much you need to pay and how much you owe, or how much you're going to get in return. But because, like I told you, business owners, prepare yourselves. You're most likely going to have to pay tax. It's always like this. So right now it's telling me I need to pay 22 SEK. Wow, like what a fortune, you know? But I'm pretty sure this is gonna change. I'm gonna have to pay way more. I just want you to know this is an important box because it kind of tells you what your preliminary tax calculation is. Either the amount you have to pay or the amount that you're due, you're owed by the government. So they have to return that tax because maybe you paid too much for your tax bracket. You see all of these tabs here? So these are the tabs that you have to go through to be able to submit your tax declaration. So let's get started, okay? So you have all that information here, and then you come to the first part, the first tab, which is your declaration details. And in this tab, you see service and capital, business activities, other information. So let's start with service and capital. So this is usually for personal income. So if you had a salary either through your own business or through someone else's business, you have a personal income salary, you can file your information here. Right now it says I had no salary. This is pretty accurate though. I'm really gonna be like showing you all of my financial figures. Oh God, I really am. You know what? I have no shame. I'm a broke ass entrepreneur and I don't apologize for it because you know what? I'm proud. I'm building a business. I pay my people a livable wage. And this means that I don't have a salary. So it's been like this for almost 2 years. You know, let's hope that 2025 or 2026 at least is the year where I start paying myself a salary. So yeah, if you're wondering how can you be an entrepreneur and not make any money for yourself, that's a video for another time, okay? I mean, technically we have a million SEK business, but this does not mean if you make that much in revenue, that doesn't mean profit and it doesn't mean salary operational revenue. So there's a lot of costs with running a business. And like I said, because I pay everybody a livable wage, a fair wage, then it means that often there's not enough money left for me to pay myself a salary. And that just comes with a lot of privilege because for 2 years now, I haven't paid myself anything. The privilege comes in through my previous savings that I had that I've been living off of, and also privilege in the fact that I have a rent controlled apartment, and privilege that, shout out to my mom, she still helps me a lot with paying bills and things like that now that I'm back to being a broke person without a full-time job. So all of this, I can give you more details in another video, but I just wanted to kind of briefly touch on how can you grow a business within a year to 1 million SEK, so $100,000 or euros, however way you convert them, but still not have a salary as a CEO, as a founder. It's because I've reinvested all of that money into the business and into paying my staff an ethical, moral, livable wage. So I can give you the breakdown of that some other day. And how am I still hanging here? I really have a huge support system, great people around me. I don't have a trust fund or anything, but I live on very little. I'm a very low maintenance person when it comes to my monthly costs. I spend less than 4,000 SEK, so less than 400 euros per month on everything that I need. And I love my life in spite of the fact that we don't have financial stability to give me a salary. So I just wanted to kind of premise that, and I'm about to be very transparent on this channel because you're gonna see my real financial figures. I am opening myself up to a lot of critique and judgment, but I want you to know there's nothing you can say to me that will make me feel ashamed of where my financials are at. I know I'm on the way to be financially independent. I know that our business is going to grow to a point that I won't ever have to worry about money. And because I know this and I have so much self-belief and I'm so transparent and honest with everybody, be it in my personal life and now in my public life, I decided that I wanted to show you my real financial figures here. But it's a decision that I did not take lightly, and it's a decision that I also feel like will give a lot of insight into the real life of someone who's trying to make it while not yet being there. I'm not successful financially wise, as you may have assumed, based just on my figures, the figures of my business alone. So I want to give that perspective. There's a lot of delayed gratification and also delayed financial reward that comes with becoming an entrepreneur from scratch and not having a trust fund, not having someone to, or investors. We're fully bootstrapped as a company. We are self-funded. So if you notice I have no income, no salary, that's why, because I don't pay myself a salary. I haven't paid myself a salary for the first year of our business, which was 2024, for which I'm now declaring the taxes for as well. So let's see, income, nothing there. Other income that is not pensionable, where was this from? 50 crowns, probably previous interest on something. Travel to and from work, business trips, temporary work, dual residence, and home travel, other expenses for your work. Yeah, definitely I can include some stuff here. We will get back to that. General deductions, yeah, root work, grid work. Yeah, so this is important. So I'm gonna go back to Swedish for this. These are special deductions if you do services like babysitting, plumbing, like specific services that involve a lot of labor, like actual physical labor. You can have special deductions, tax deductions for that kind of work. If you're freelancing specific jobs that involve a lot of physical labor or in-demand skills like childcare, or again, plumbing is just an example, right? Then you can actually get deductions for root or rot. I used to do deductions when I was a babysitter. I did, I think, rot deductions, and this meant that parents would pay, let's say, 100 crowns per hour, and then the tax agency would match that contribution, 100 crowns, coming from the taxes of the parents, because there's benefits for being parents and if you're looking for childcare. I would get double the money, but actually half of it is paid through the taxes that go through the tax agency from the parent's salary. So that's just something to keep in mind. Maybe those different types of work apply to you. Okay, gift is like when you do some type of work that people you didn't charge them an invoice for, but they kind of wanted to compensate you in some way. I'm going to give you an example. I did this lecture for an MBA class, and I just said, like, I'll do it for free, but they wanted to give me a gift, a monetary gift as compensation. So you get that income as a gift, so it's not taxable, but you still need to declare it here. Okay, basis for property tax. Yeah, this is if you actually own your apartment, which I don't, I'm still renting. Income, capital, flat rate income, interest income. Okay, so this is for when you invest money into the stock market, ETFs, whatever. Okay, so let's say you have an investment account, then you need to declare here your interest income, your dividends, things like that. So I did have, interesting, they have put here interest income. I think this was from my pension. So my pension fund in Sweden has been managed by, these fund managers, and they invest my pension to then be able to give off more. This is if you have, let's say one of your side hustles or side incomes is renting out real estate, your own real estate, then you would put that here. So all of these different things, fund shares, capital gains, all of these types of investments, they are taxed differently from your income. So you need to make sure that you're declaring everything here. So then the right taxation will apply to the right source of the income. So if it's salaries, income tax. If it's investments, it's going to be capital gains tax and things like that. Then we have, deductions, interest expenses, loss on fund shares. So this is if you have losses instead. There's either gains or losses with your investments. Pretty straightforward. You have to declare everything here. And then foreign insurance. This is if you happen to have income abroad, I believe. And if that income abroad is also taxable within both maybe your home country or Sweden, so you have to look at the agreements between your countries. So for example, Canada and Sweden, they have like a tax agreement so that I only have to declare taxes in one place where I got that income from. So I think this is like along those lines. Guys, please, I am not a tax person. Also, like everything I know, I just know by doing and by calling people and harassing them and asking them a lot of questions. I do think I understand taxes and taxation in Sweden better than the average Swede, but that does not replace, I do not replace expert help. So if you have a lot of complicated tax questions, talk to an accountant. Please do not just trust me. I'm a random person on the internet. I'm just showing you how to walk through this form. Hope you understand that. I'll come back to fill out some of these things because I don't know if this is all correct. I need to go check. When you work for an employer, they declare everything like themselves. So you don't have to worry so much about the going and filling in everything. But when you work for yourself, you are the employer. So you need to figure out like, okay, is this all correct? Because if it's not, they can go and look into it. And maybe you can get tax fraud, or tax evasion or something like that, a charge like that on your activities. So just be careful with the numbers you're inputting here. Then we have business activities. Yeah, this is all through these forms, NE, N3A. NE is for any type of business activities, passive business activities, active business activities. Usually you have to fill that out separately as an appendix, so we'll get to that in a minute. And then you have interest distribution. So this is like if you had a surplus, how are you going to split the profit? There's a lot of stuff here. If you own a property through your business, like so much. Like I can't go into all of these details, but this is just something to keep in mind, because if you have a business and you have all these costs, it would be nice to include some of that stuff here so you get some deductions as well. And then other information, this is where you can provide other stuff. So this is the part I was telling you, where you come in the attachments and you have to add some additional information. What is this additional information? It's the appendixes, the documents that support the information that they have already declared. Here we have 2 K10s, I'll tell you about it in a minute, and we have an NE form. So an NE form, this is for any of you who are freelancers or sole traders, you're gonna have to fill this one out. I'll show you in a minute. The K10 form, this is for those of you who are shareholders in a company, most likely a limited liability company, an aktiebolag. I am a shareholder in 2 companies, or I was up until recently when one of my companies went bankrupt. I'll tell you about that in another video. But I still need to declare up until the most recent business activity of the company. So both companies, my current one and my previous one, I have to declare if I got any profit distribution. So any dividends, anything that was paid out because there was extra money left, if there is extra money left, then you need to declare that because it will be charged tax differently. I believe it's like 21% tax on dividends or shareholder like returns, but don't quote me on that because sometimes I forget how this works. But 21% tax, technically it's to encourage people to own and hold businesses and business shares rather than have personal income. That's another reason why I don't have a salary, because then I would be taxed twice. 21% on shareholder dividends or profits, it is still a lower tax percentage deduction than it is to have personal income at 30% or more, being taxed at 30% or more. So just something to keep in mind. I'm going to show you what these guys look like. Sole proprietorship. Make sure that your business is still active, like you had activities as of last year. And then you need to say if you're the one, not an accountant, like it says I'm an accountant when you translate it, but it's actually not what it means. It means you're just a person reporting on the bookkeeping. Because a lot of sole traders, they don't necessarily use an accountant for that, but they still do their own bookkeeping, and that's the case with me. So I am the one doing the bookkeeping, so I'm saying I am an accountant. Translated, this looks weird, but when you look at the person reporting it, then it's fine. Once you click on that one, you also have other options, like in case that you're not the accountant, if you actually got a certified accountant or something, you can click on another person who's responsible and put their personal number here, or personal identification number. Let's say that you are the one reporting, you are the one keeping up the bookkeeping, then you also have other options here. So you can talk about how you have maybe passive business activities. So this doesn't mean you're actively doing work for it, but you're still getting money back. I'm thinking, for example, passive would be I did some content in 2023 and published it on YouTube, and somehow I made a whole lot more money, or I made money on it in 2024, even though I did no work for it. That is passive income, and you would then declare this here as well. If your operations, like let's say you just stopped working in 2024 due to illness or other reasons, then if they have ceased, you should declare that as well. And if you made any activity, any formal business activity, and invoiced anybody outside of the EU, including like Norway, Iceland, Switzerland, the Schengen area, then you also need to declare that here. And then you have the option to talk about the tax here. So the tax here is what you're declaring that information for. A lot of people, just to make it easier, they choose the calendar year. So it's usually from January through December. In this case, we're doing it for 2024. Or other people, they choose a different financial year. Let's say from April 1st to March 31st, because that's sometimes when it aligns with the tax declaration season. So depending on the year, I always recommend going with calendar year. It's a bit easier to kind of put everything on the side, and your bookkeeping probably was also set according to calendar year. Yes, and then simplified annual accounts. This just means you don't need an auditor, you don't need like extra people to kind of come and check in, like, okay, have you done this right? Most often, if you make less than 3 million crowns a year as a freelancer, you're likely not going to need an auditor, people to come and check your work, as long as you have done your bookkeeping yourself. That is still important to do. So if you're wondering how to do your bookkeeping, check out my other videos, because I have left a lot of information on that in this YouTube channel. And then you have contractors. So this part is mostly about consultants. Like, do you have any accountants or an external help that came and helped you prepare these books and the bookkeeping? And if yes, if there's a person, then you can declare that. And then you have other information. So you have stuff about, like, if you have rented cars or vehicles for you to, you know, kind of use in your business activities. If you have other, like, expenses related to your business activity in 2024. If you have, like, they have residual value depreciation. So this is for, like, equipment. For example, I have, like, the podcast equipment and also, like, video equipment. So if it depreciates in value, or it gets like damaged or broken, and, you know, it requires constant maintenance, things that depreciate in value, you can also include that here and do your calculations. There's a lot of stuff. Buildings, land improvements. This is if you actually own the space or rent the space that you have your business in, your office. And then you have things related to, again, if you made any surplus, if you had a positive cash flow, then what did you do with that money? How much of that is left? And write that in, so then everybody knows what's being left to the next year, the next tax year. Let's say I go back and I say, yes, I checked it, perfect. So now it's saying I checked that. I need to declare my balance and results. So that is other parts of this form, of the NE form, which is to include the balance sheet. So things like, okay, how much equipment did you purchase? What were your costs? Did you have inventory, like, that's sitting and supply that you bought? Do you have any cash in the bank? Like, how much money do you have in the bank? So these are all things that, as of the last year, so the last date on your bookkeeping, potentially it's going to be 31st of December 2024, you should have registered all these things, and then you declare them here. Same thing with long-term and short-term liabilities. Let's say someone loans you 10,000 crowns. A short-term liability would be someone loaned you 10,000 crowns and you ended up paying it within the same year that they loaned you that money. So 2024, someone loaned you that money, you paid it before December 31st. That was a short-term liability. If you have a loan that is crossing or transferring over across several years, then that would count as a long-term liability. And these are all things you can put here. So yeah, and then you go back and you save everything essentially, and you say, okay, everything is declared, but obviously I haven't filled it in all at once. You should definitely save a copy if you can of this form. But generally speaking, once you go back to the appendices and the attachments, then you should be able to not just, you know, once this is complete, you should be able to see that it was clad, but you should also be able to go and do the K10 forms. So if you have an aktiebolag instead of a freelancer business, you should be able to go and do that. Yes, okay, this is my current one. Experience Stockholm, yep. This is the one I was telling you, the simplification rule or main rule. This is the one where if you're not sure how much tax you should be paying on your dividends, if you have surplus and you're distributing that profit amongst shareholders, you need to go and find this out. And there's a definition for this, like Sweden. So you'll find this information here about how to calculate it. It depends on how much money you make. Like, let's say if you're making a lot of money from dividends, it will vary depending on how much you're discounting as dividends go, like you're extracting every single year. This is not my case. We're not making any money yet. So, but it might be relevant if you're making a lot of money as an aktiebolag. You should definitely check, okay, what rate is most favorable for me, and what dividend amount should I declare this year versus next year versus the year after. It will affect your tax deductions. Yeah, number of shares. I can mention the number of shares I hold at the beginning of the year. So I hold 100. Total number of shares in the entire company. Yeah, at the beginning of the year, that was 100. Dividend received, we did not receive anything from there. So that was 0. Yeah, then they have more information here you need to declare. Okay guys, so that's pretty much like essentially the attachments. Then you have other stuff you might want to declare, because it's never ending, this form. So if you want to change specific things, you can jump directly to it. There's a lot of stuff you can add, information like if something is unclear, or if you have foreign income, if you I don't know, you have an investment abroad, you should always include that stuff here, okay? And then in the end, it has the tax calculation, which is giving me an error now because I'm pretty sure the Chrome extension did not work. Yup, so I need to go back. Yes, there you go. So see, it worked now. So if you happen to get any errors, just go back and just switch this back to Swedish, because this website was built in the 90s. And here it gives you the preliminary tax according to all this information you just submitted. I haven't finished all the information, like I still have to go and do that. But according to all this information that I supposedly submitted, then it would have here the preliminary tax that I would have to have included here. And then when you click next, you have the final calculation, which tells me I need to pay 22 crowns. It's still saying the same thing as before, but that's because I haven't completed all the information. But let's say you actually receive money, okay? If you receive money, when you make it past the income declaration where they tell you how much you either are owed or how much you need to pay, it gives you the bank giro and the OCR number for you to be able to process this payment. But let's say you're lucky and, unlike me, you actually get to receive money. And in order to get that tax back, you have to include your bank account details. Otherwise, they don't know where to deposit that money. And sometimes they send you a check, but like, who still accepts checks? Like, nobody. Like, I've gone to a lot of banks, they don't take checks in this country. It's really difficult, actually, sometimes. So instead, you'd rather have it automatically deposited. That's like amazing. Like, and usually they do it really fast if you include your bank details. So how do you do that? You go to this section that says bank konto. Okay, you go there, and then here you fill out your new account. Like, if you don't have already registered your bank account, your clearing number, your account number, you fill that out here. And once you do that, perfect, it's great, amazing, you get it deposited almost immediately. Just make sure you got the right number. And then finally, the contact information. So for the Skatteverket, the tax agency, to update you, they need to have ask you questions, like if they're unsure about something you submitted. Include your phone number and your email, just in case the tax agency has questions. But try to make this form as informative and as comprehensive and as complete as possible. Then you finally submit it. So at the end, if you've done all these steps, you go skicka in or skicka in, and this is where you are going to submit all of this information. And once that's ready, I haven't filled out all the information. You'll be able to click submit. And once you do, you'll get a little receipt saying that you have submitted and kind of the average time that they will take to process. So that's pretty much it. That's how you do this. And it's very straightforward because you just have to do it in one spot. I hope this has been informative, at least to a certain extent. I don't know. And I guess I will try to make more content from now on. I know we have been increasing and growing a lot our subscriber count. So thank you to everybody who subscribed, who found my content helpful, my videos insightful. I appreciate all the comments. I haven't had the chance to answer all of yours because, I mean, I have a very busy life, so sometimes I can't answer. So please help each other. If you see someone else asking a question they already have the answer to, I think it would be amazing if you guys started helping each other. But in terms of taxes, I mean, you gotta do them. So don't be like me, don't wait until the last minute. Really try to get it in, and yeah, good luck with everything. Hopefully you get some money back. Bye! Hej då!